This video is brought to you by Gamersubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. I've been back in the trophy hunting game for 3 years now, but I've had this PlayStation account since 2014, and in that time, well, I might have 184 platinums now, but I also have over 8,000 unearned trophies with a sexy completion percentage of 53.91, which looks a little something like this. So needless to say, I've got a lot of work to do to try and up that completion percentage, and plenty of games that I've started that need to be platinumed, and also some that have been platinumed but have some DLC trophies left to work on. I don't know what completion percentage is reasonably possible on this account, as there's quite a few games that have platinums or DLC trophies that are no longer obtainable, but we're here to take this one step at a time, with the first goal just to reach 60% completion, and we'll go from there. Shout out to the other creators also tackling this sort of challenge. I had this idea back in 2023 but never went through with it for one reason or another, but seeing all these creators make videos on trying to clean up their backlog and really enjoying their videos made me want to finally give this challenge a go. I'll leave their channels in the description, definitely recommend checking those videos out. As always, if you do end up enjoying the content and want to see more like it, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and let's get this video started with a game I should have platinumed a long time ago. Yeah, so Astro's Playroom has been on my backlog of shame for far too long. A game I booted up when I got my PS5, then unlocked a few trophies, and just sort of bailed on it for whatever reason. I beat all the levels, but sort of just left it as is, and for years I've had it sitting there like, one day, I'll go back. Well, enough was enough, because this game is a cinch to platinum, and it should be in my platinum collection. So I finally booted the game back up after more than 3 years, and decided to just go after all the collectibles to get us started. That way I get used to the game again, I have a simple goal to follow, and could look into the other trophies later. There's 4 puzzle pieces and 2 artifacts per level, and if you're familiar with collectathon platformers, these won't give you much grief. It's all the usual suspects, just give the level a good look around and you'll spot them. Very few aren't immediately obvious. Alright, we got Cool Hoarder. It's been our first trophy in a minute. Got all puzzle pieces in Cooling Springs. Hey, the PSP! Such a big fan. Alright, that's all the artifacts. I'm assuming that's what most of these trophies are going to be like anyway, but yeah. The Found Legacy. Alright, so that's the puzzle pieces done. I just need one more artifact in here. You charted. Alright, that's another world done. I've been playing for like 40 minutes so far, so making good progress. Welcome to the 3rd place. Got the SingStar mic, which is so... I love these artifacts, they're so cool. And we got the Omega Booster. Alright, that's another world done. Maybe some DLC stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're blitzing this. There we go. Iconic. Alright, that's the last puzzle piece for here. And Conquered Worlds. Alright, that's the last artifact, at least for now, in the main gameplay worlds. With all the puzzle pieces and artifacts from the levels, I then headed on over to the PS Labo to play some good old gacha, which finished up my collectible grind. Gacha Maniac. Got half the gacha prizes. Alright, cool. I'll take it. For the players. Got a secret gacha. That's a nice one. For the trophy owners. Woo! A grand tour. Got all the puzzle pieces in the game. And Saru Gacha for getting all the gacha prizes. And Dude Raider for collecting all the artifacts. Woo! And then went around the lab interacting with all the PlayStation goodies now scattered around. Supercomputer. Alright, let's see what else we've got in here. I recognize you from the old VR game, which I still need to play. This way up. The very far point. Alright, let's open the old PlayStation lid. Disc swap. Iconic. Alright, where's the home? There we go. Honey, I'm home. This is where the first DLC comes into play because all the other bots were now too scared to follow me around, which I needed for some trophies. So into the 1994 throwback we went for a solid boss battle. I'm not gonna lie, this T-Rex got me a few times, but the transition from PS1 to PS5 was incredible. Play has no limits. Alright, so that's a DLC trophy. The DLC stuff shouldn't take me too long either. It'd just be the speedrun, maybe. With that done, I could wrangle up the bots again to knock out a few more trophies for gathering 20, hitting 10 with one spin attack, and letting the evil CPU chip smack the glass and send 10 flying. The last guy. Walk around with at least 20 bots. Alright, cool. And Project Neo, and we might be able to, you guys come up here. And Gravity Days. Alright, that should be all of those sorts of trophies done. Since I was going to need to head back into the levels again anyway, for the rest of the miscellaneous trophies, I figured this would be a good time to knock out the 4 special bots. Each world now has one special bot trapped, and we need to get them out. Free all 4, and that's one DLC complete. Some of these are pretty straightforward, with a guide at least. I would have been in serious trouble here without the internet, I'll say that. I mean, you have to input the correct date, die at exactly this spot, hit these starfish in exactly the right order, and then somehow won I did first try, mimicking this damn monkey's dance moves, of which I had no clue what I was doing. Hunted down. Alright, that is, yeah, Lady Maria? I can't remember, it's been so long since I played Bloodborne. Wild Arms, let's go. Alright, that's in the main game. A bit of love for Returnal, which is another game I need to play. Deja, phew! Grand Tourist, for the old Gran Turismo bot. So we just should have one left now. Oh, that was complete luck. Did that first try. No escape, and we should get another one, I'm hoping. Yeah, for the players. Alright, that's for all the special bots. But confusion aside, we got it done, and then I just proceeded to go around the worlds cleaning up the random trophies I needed. Things like sitting under a bench to get out of the rain, to making a big ass snowball. Just little Easter eggs to nod to more PlayStation games, and I'm all for it. Jason! Keepy uppies. Jumpin' splash. Alright, we're nearing the end. It just depends how long this speedrun takes. Twisting metal. Alright, now I just gotta get this snowball. Yay, little rolling star, thank God. Also, that was slippery. No, no, no! Ready for the proving. Alright, so I think there's just one more level one to go. Adequate boy. Alright, time for some speed runs. All that left me with was one more DLC trophy and one more main game trophy, and the platinum and 100% for Astro's Playroom would finally be mine. In terms of the DLC, we needed to play through all 8 of the speedrun levels and get a total time of less than 7 minutes. Now I don't know if you know this, but 8 is more than 7. Just some quick math for you. So yeah, I was a little nervous this could take a while to get done. Turns out, I overthunk it. It's not too bad. I just made sure to get the quickest possible time I could for the actual platforming runs because I knew I wouldn't be as speedy with the different forms. The monkey for me was very slow, but in the end it didn't matter as I completed all 8 levels with 34 seconds to spare. Okay, we should be right. Let's go! Run, Astro, run! Oof, okay. Under 7 minutes. That's a little stressful. 6:26. Okay, so I had 34 seconds to spare. I probably could have shaved off time with definitely the first 2. I feel like I had a good Frozen run, and Stormy run was pretty good. I could have done better on that too. But we got it done. And all that left was picking up a trophy in the PS Labo, and after almost 4 years for a 5-hour platinum, Astro's Playroom's platinum and 100% was finally in the collection. Get Astro's Playroom finally done, because this has been on my backlog sort of shame trophy list for a hot minute now. And I'm really glad I finally came back to it because this is a lot of fun. And Astrobot is also on my backlog. It's not on my trophy backlog, but an actual backlog. Yeah. You got a trophy and You've only done everything. That's right, we did it all. That was, oh my god, that was so much fun. I'm mad. I'm really mad at myself that it took me so long to get this done, but better late than never, right? On to the next game, and it was time to go after another platinum that has been sitting there dormant for almost a decade. Far Cry Primal. I unlocked 37 out of 51 trophies back at release, and remember really enjoying my time with the game. But something must have dropped after the 7th of March 2016, because I didn't even finish the story before giving the game the flick and never returning. Okay, editing Jimmy here. This was bugging me, so I looked it up. Tom Clancy's The Division dropped on the 8th of March, which is a weird coincidence because that was the game I made my first video on for this channel. So maybe, I don't want to cope or anything, but maybe if I finished Far Cry Primal, I wouldn't have started making videos when I did. Just a weird little tidbit I found interesting. Anyway, back to the task at hand. I left Far Cry Primal in a strange spot. Lots of trophies earned already and most of the story done and dusted, which thankfully I still had my save file for. All I really had left to do was complete the final few missions and then go across the map doing the usual Far Cry things. Clearing and capturing outposts, completing the various side missions, leveling up and finding a good chunk of the different collectibles, which was almost immediately put on pause as the game crashed on me before I could even get started. Now I've heard this game on PS5 is crash central. I didn't expect it to be that obvious right from the jump though. It's been a long time since I've had a game crash on me from the get-go, but one reset later and my PS4 Pro waiting in case it did some dummy like that again, and we were back underway. Just while we're on the crashes, thankfully it only crashed on me another 2 times for the 8 or so hours it took me to clean up these trophies, so not terrible. I've heard horror stories about this game and its performance, so I'll take 3 crashes. Warped is my favorite. Anyway, we load into the game and my first objective is just figuring out what the hell is going on and how do I play this game. Again, it's been 9 years, so off I went to go get my bearings, clearing an outpost to get the hang of the gameplay and try and figure things out before jumping into the missions. Because again, we're right at the end of the game and most of the missions are just straight boss fights with waves and waves of enemies and enormous health bars. So I took care of a couple of outposts first to get the hang of things and then jumped straight into Far Cry Primal's finale. Did I know what was going on with the story? Hell no. But the fights felt like genuine battles for survival of each tribe, which I think is one of Primal's true strengths, and I had a stressful but great time in both fights. Finally concluding the story of Primal and enjoying it so much I'd be down to properly revisit this game from start to finish down the road. Hey, to Ash. Alright, we finally got another trophy for completing the, one of the final boss fights. Alright, again, story-wise I have no idea what's going on, but jeez. This game is fun. Evolution in action. Yeah, weird jumping in right at the end, where it's probably like the most satisfying after the whole journey, and you're just like, yeah, nah, cool. I'll just jump in, finish these 2 villains off and move on. But yeah, now we just got the, you know, the more Far Cry stuff to do and we're done. With the story complete, it was time to venture into the open world, and this is where the tried and true Far Cry formula comes into play. You know what to expect here. We needed to clear all the outposts, pick up a lot of collectibles, and complete most of the side missions in order to grab some more trophies, as well as those extra skill points. I didn't really have a step-by-step sort of plan here. I was also doing whatever was close by at the time, which is how I stumbled across the peak of Parkadoo Lookout and did a very sketchy leap into the water. Candor of faith. That was sketchy as. Well, lucky there was a collectible around there, otherwise I probably wouldn't have found that spot. Not long after that, after clearing another outpost, I captured my 10th of 15, which, just a heads up, make sure you're capturing these without being detected, as it will help lessen the XP grind you need to do at the end. I didn't do that. If I got caught, I just completed the outpost anyway, and it bit me in the behind. Skirmish. Is that for half the outposts? Yep, well, 10. Again, I was all over the place here, but mainly I was searching for the collectibles, just to knock those out first, as I probably only needed 30 or so, but I do get sidetracked easily and was completing some of the Beast Kill, Help Wenja, and Tribal Clash quests as well, which is actually where I unlocked the 2 kill related trophies I needed for taking out 10 enemies with hunting traps. Just place these in front of you and the enemies will rush in with no regard for themselves. Gotcha! Alright, that's for the old, that's for the 10 hunting traps. So now I just need fire kills, and I feel like I should have probably gotten it by now. And 50 fire kills, which felt like it took me a lot longer than it should have, but that also could have been because my tamed beast was nicking my kills early on. Yes, let's go. Inflammable. Alright, thank God I can stop goofing around now and I can just play how I actually like to play, which is much sneakier and, yeah, a bit more fun. I was just having fun exploring more than anything though, and eventually on my travels grabbed my 80th collectible, which is a good source of XP if they aren't too out of the way. Plus there's over 180 collectibles in the game, so they're everywhere. Alright, we got Cave Hoarder picking up 80 collectibles. That wasn't too bad. I probably had a good 30 left. Not long after that, I cleared my 15th outpost, and it was time to complete the side quests. Expansion. Alright, that's all the outposts done. Didn't get as many stealth ones done as I would have liked. I usually started so well and then just one missed arrow and you're sort of on the back foot, but that's alright. Now, you don't have to complete every side quest. My focus, in fact, was on completing the quests that rewarded skill points. But if you're a dummy like me and didn't maximize XP with the events, then you'll need to clear up a good chunk of the side missions anyway to reach max level. There's not much to say here. We completed 5 beast kill quests, which just drops you in an area and you need to kill a certain amount of animals. Master Tracker. Mr. Bear, please leave me be. Alright, that's the base quests. I'm probably gonna have to do all of them anyway. We still got a lot of XP, skill points we need to get. 15 Help Wenja quests, which are either about freeing hostages or search and rescue, basically escort missions, which, I'll be honest, weren't my favorite. Good Neighbor. That's 15 already? Oh, damn. I must have done heaps. So I feel like I've only done like 3 or 4 of these. And 10 Tribal Clash quests, which are either to destroy an enemy camp or take out and loot leaders. Probably my favorite quests in the game. Crush your enemies. Alright, that's all the quest stuff. Really, I've just got the leveling to do, and that's a lot of work. I've got a lot of skill points I still need. This left me a few levels short in order to grab all the skills, so after that I just went after the highest XP reward quests and more collectibles to increase my level, and after about 2 hours of doing that, I finally had enough skill points to max out all the skill trees in the game. Alright, it should be... Yep. Alright, hit the XP cap, which means I can buy the final upgrade. Woo! Expert Wenja. Alright, that was a little longer than I was anticipating. Probably like, it was probably just over 2 hours, so not terrible, but now I just gotta figure out where this Easter egg trophy is, which just left one more trophy, a little nod to a previous game, which was a treat. And just like that, after close to 10 years in the making, I platinumed Far Cry Primal. Definitely an underrated entry in this series. Mark for Wenja, nice little nod to Blood Dragon, an Apex Predator, and that one was nearing 10 years, so glad to finally knock that one off the backlog. Really enjoyed it. I just enjoy playing the Far Cry games, even the lesser ones. This was good. I think it would have hit more for me if, you know, I'd played from the start again, but really enjoyed it and just glad to finally knock that one off the backlog. For this next game, it was time to focus on cleaning up some of the DLC trophies, and really, I was just looking for an excuse to revisit this game. It was time to head back to Maneater and finally play the DLC Truth Quest. I platinumed Maneater back in 2022 as one of the final games of my original 30 platinums in 30 days challenge, but because I was on a time crunch, I gave the DLC a miss despite loving my time with the platinum experience. Oh, and if you don't know what Maneater is, in short, you play as a shark and move yourself up the ranks, growing bigger and bigger, even mutating and subsequently taking on bigger and bigger fish, sharks, whales, crocs, and those pesky humans. It's a goofy game, but man is it charming, and definitely a game I was excited to get back to and check out the DLC. So what's going on in Truth Quest? Well, basically, radiation is a son of a bitch, and along with a new part of the map to explore, the fish are just as mutated as us now, meaning we've got our work cut out for us. Now, in terms of the DLC trophies, it's pretty much what you expect from the Platinum experience. We need to grab all the collectibles, complete all the missions, and take on all the bosses, both under the water and above. Most of this is on the new area of the map, Plover Island, but there's some missions and collectibles that carry on over to the main game. It didn't take me long to get into the swing of things again. I was pretty good to go by the time I got to the new island. I see Site P. Alright, we're into the DLC area now. And from there was just swimming around doing whatever was closest by. Whether that be finding crates, landmarks, and license plates, taking out sailors and the Coast Guard, or accidentally entering the territory of the latest apex predator. No real plan of attack, just vibing around the waters with moments of stress because these new predators are tough cookies. Uh-oh.
The electric great white.
I wasn't prepared for this. I was trying to take out the hammerheads. They're bullying me. Let's go! Electric burn! Holy smokes, man, that was tough. Oh my god, no, I'm not prepared for this. I'm not prepared. I'm just... Okay, we got this. As long as he doesn't... If I can go off and get some healthy health. I got you now, bitch. I got you now. Oh! Woohoo! Shadow Killer, let's go. We got another one. I feel like this is going to be a short little cleanup, which is a little upsetting because I'm already having so much fun. Atomic Head! God, I wish I could get some Atomic Head. Alright, got the old bone sperm whale. Oh. No. Let's go. Bone Breaker. And Atomic Bomb. Alright, cool. 100% of the Atomic Evolution set. Sweet! We got the complete Atomic Evolution set after the Bone Sperm Whale, but I've got to be honest, the Bone set is just too good. You need that extra health cushion for some of the fights, so I didn't really even use the new set. I continued along, clearing out the island of collectibles and missions, reaching the new max rank of 40. 40 and flirty. And taking on the final Coast Guard fight, which I lucked out on by getting stuck on the roof and just spamming attacks on it. Yeah, this is a bit... I'm cheesing it, but I don't care, because these guys suck. 4-star rank. Alright, now that I figured out that this actually does good damage, I definitely cruised through that a little easier. Clearing the island of all the objectives... Island Queen! Alright, that's all of the DLC area complete. Now we just gotta go back to the main sort of storyline and world and clean that up. And then heading on back to the main area of the game to face off against the big bad of this DLC, the Atomic Leviathan, which felt straight out of Subnautica. This guy is no joke. His health bar is huge, he does big damage, and about halfway through the fight summons all the atomic versions of the previous Apex Predators to further stress you out. Get out of here. Apex Eater. That was so stressful, man. Jesus. I was not expecting like a genuine boss like that. But to be fair, I don't really remember if there was something crazy like that in the main game. All that left me with was to clear out the new objectives on the main map. The main ones being I needed to find and eat all the questers in each area, and I needed to 100% each of the time trials. The questers are pretty easy to find. They usually have a torch shining to let you know where to find them. Fanfare. The time trials I was a little worried about, as I always am, but these are mostly one and done affairs thanks to setting my shark's evolution set to shadow on all parts and using the amphibious, brutal muscles and adrenal gland tier 5 organs. This absolutely tanks the frame rate, but your speed is stupid fast. So fast in fact, even on the jumps, which are the trickiest part, I usually had so much time saved early that I could muck up a few times and still complete the trial. I can't believe how much how choppy this game got just by applying all the mods that are in the game. This should have been tested. Perfect timing! Alright, that's the speedruns done. I can take this bloody kit off. Because it's good. It makes me feel super quick, but damn, it tanks the frame rate like crazy. All that left me with was completing the other new objectives added in through Truth Quest, mostly killing sailors or fighting atomic apex predators, and in about 3 hours total, I completed the Truth Quest DLC, getting Maneater up to 100% completion, and it was time for one last game. Yeah, let's go. I can handle the truth. And that's Maneater's DLC finally done. So we got the 100% for this, as it freezes almost on me. Yeah, really, this is one of those games that's just such a blast to play. I'm glad I finally played the DLC. It's a little disappointing. Maybe I just wasn't very good at it, but the atomic shark skin, I just couldn't, I just found I was too weak. Like, I'm used to my bone shark. But yeah, so just to have an excuse to come back to this game, I'll take it. For the final game in this video, I wanted to tackle another DLC for a game that really impressed me during my latest attempt at the 30 Platinums in 30 Days challenge. That's right, the same time constraint meant I had to skip the DLC for the time being, despite really wanting to pick it up and play it straight away. I'm talking about Still Wakes the Deep and the DLC content Siren's Rest. Again, I platinumed Still Wakes the Deep a couple of months ago, and it was a game that I thought I'd enjoy, I just had no idea how much. I loved the base game, so much so that it is still right up there with one of my favorite platinum experiences for the year. The story, the atmosphere, the unique setting, it all just made for an experience that I just couldn't get enough of. Siren's Rest takes place 11 years after the base game, and all we really know in the beginning is we're here to search the remains of the Beira D oil rig to try and figure out what happened all those years ago. However, unlike the main game, this DLC takes place completely underwater. So those of you with thalassophobia or just a general fear of the open ocean, you're in trouble with this DLC. But as I've said in previous videos, that's not something that bothers me personally, even though I'll admit this whole experience is eerie as hell. Anyway, we play as Mari and our job is pretty simple. Find the remains of the crew and any personal effects to send back to their family. Now, in terms of trophies, it is again very similar in terms of structure to the base game. We need to die a bunch of different ways, find all the mementos and bodies, and explore the wreckage as much as we can, while also completing the DLC with Scottish Gaelic turned on. This doesn't affect the spoken dialogue, just subtitles, so it's not too big a deal. Oh, and we'll need to achieve both endings, but that's easy enough to do thanks to chapter select. This is a short DLC, only taking a couple of hours to complete, and with 22 trophies to unlock, we are pretty much constantly unlocking a trophy for something. Like ascending too high, Icarus. I forgot our training. An easy one to get us started. We're 3 minutes into the recording with our first trophy. Finding the first memento and body, Dordrecht. So that's for our first memento. Gore. That sounds very Australian. Gore blimey. Alright, we found our first body. Finding what happened to both the failed escape plans on the Beira D. Lost with all hands. Confirm for yourself that both escape routes failed the crew of the Beira D. Unlocking all the extra dialogue by exploring the sea floor. Sat dive certification. I think that's for, yeah, the 7 items we need on the sea floor. Getting crushed to death, running out of oxygen. Wrecked. Alright, same as the base game, there's going to be some death trophies. She fetches at the thrapple. That's another death one done. And finding half the bodies and mementos before reaching the halfway point. Lay me down to sleep. Found a significant amount of the human remains from the BRD crew. Alright, I think there's only 6 more that we need to find. Here to do a job. What's this for? Oh, okay. Same sort of thing. Find a lot of the mementos. We discover there's more to this wreckage than immediately meets the eye, and so we need to descend deeper into the trench to find out more, despite already facing some sketchy terrain and starting to lose our mind a bit down at these depths. TNC. That was intense. Down in the trench, we scoured the area for more extra dialogue. Sat dive mastery. Alright, that's all the stuff, all the dialogue in the trench. Finding Finley's lost lighter. Christ, I need a smoke. Yeah, I remember the lighter from a base game. Discovered all the human remains of the crew and finding all the mementos. Cenotaph. Alright, that's all the remains of the crew. Are we gonna see that? Oh, we got the monster. Go! Get. The sprint is so fiddly. Go, 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 go! Whew. Diving lesson. Find a special room and remember a special day. Won't wait forever. You're just trying to do right by me. And a wreck upturned for all the mementos. And this story is just getting sad, man. I'm just depressed now. Now, down in the trench, Mari is starting to have her mind messed with. We've got no oxygen, we're separated from our partner Rob, and this is where the monster finally shows itself. Which, of course, we need to die by for a trophy. What's up, monster? There you go, mate. Ah! A clutch. Permitted your current consciousness to join a greater whole. Interesting. Anyway, we're on the clock here to escape the monster and not run out of oxygen in what is a really tense encounter, but it ends up being for naught as Mari ends up drowning. Thalassophobia. We enter a dreamlike sequence, linger a bit to grab one more trophy. Treaty of Perth. Just to spend some time in this little area. And here it's revealed why we're here in the first place. We're Brody's daughter, searching for him, searching for answers, and ultimately meeting the same fate. Here's where the endings come into play. We can stay here with our dad, who we search for this whole time, or let go. We stay for the first ending, leaving our body to drown in the abyss and our mind to stay here with our dad. Yeah, this is our first ending. We're not doing a thing. We're not pressing anything. Enshrouding, which is for complete the game by sinking into the comforting embrace of what you sought all along. And then the trophy for playing it in Gaelic, but I'm not even attempting that. Loading up chapter select for the second ending, where we let go of this memory with our dad, fighting to survive as Rob is trying to save us. And that still wakes the deep, and Siren's Rest now 100% complete. Let go. Gasping and grasping. My boy Rob wouldn't let me down. And that still wakes the deep. Siren's Rest. I'm lost for words. That's a trip. It's just, I just love the main game, and I really enjoyed Siren's Rest. I don't get the criticism, I guess. I haven't heard like specifics or anything. I just heard it wasn't like the best received DLC, but the only thing I could really say is the monster's just not in the game enough, and the chapter that it is like 10 minutes long. But it's sketchy the whole time. It's so interesting. This is one of my favorite like experiences of this year. I know it didn't come out this year, but this is just a game that both the main game and the DLC, just the story always just left me so sad. But like, it's special. It's really special. So the Chinese room, well done. Well done. So how did we go on our first outing to try and increase our completion percentage? Well, we started with 53.91% and ended with 54.35%. Here's the breakdown of how much each game boosted the percentage, and yes, it's slow going, but it's a start, and 0.44% with just 4 games I feel is decent. I was stoked to finally platinum, play, and complete all of these games. I really had a blast with all of them and recommend if any are also on your backlog to also complete them. You won't regret it. I think we're off to a good start here, but today was about dipping our toes into the water. There's plenty of work left to be done with much bigger grinds still ahead. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think of this new series, what games you're excited to see in the future, and what you think of the games we covered today. Shout out to the channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to members of the Bear Club, G&T Papi, Scott Unwin, It's Grey J, Dark Wolf, Zafado, Lug Knights, Golden Sparrow, Lord Alex, Kuzma, Jarvis McGee, One Wonder Hit, Steel Vanguard, and Briganius. Thank you all, and I'll catch you in the next one.